Hello friends, welcome to our channel Knowledge Amplifier. So today in this particular video I am going to discuss one major issue what we faced in our recent project, and I am going to tell you the solution also what basically we have implemented after encountering that particular problem, and I hope once you get the solution you can implement that in your project to avoid such scenarios, and you will be getting alert beforehand and you can take necessary steps to avoid that particular issue, right? So let's try to understand what problem we faced in one of our data pipeline. Okay, so basically we are having our on-prem Confluent Kafka cluster where all the real-time messages or streams or events are coming, and we have basically implemented one Amazon S3 sync connector whose responsibility was reading the messages from that topic and ingesting the data in our AWS S3. Okay, this is a very common pattern widely used in many industries. Wherever in on-prem system Kafka cluster is there and they need to move the data in S3, that time one easy way to go is Amazon S3 sync connector. And there are some configuration what we have to do to run this particular connector. So whenever we talk about connector, it is nothing but a reusable code developed by someone, and if I want to use it, I can just put some necessary jars in some specific path and I need to configure certain metadata in a config file, right? So here as part of configuration, if I scroll below here, you will see one important property is there, and that is AWS access key ID and AWS secret access key. Okay, basically user ID password kind of thing, because here in this case our Confluent Kafka is running in on-prem, and when it need to talk to S3 or it need to write the data in S3, as a first step we need to create an user which is having this S3 read-write access, and for that particular user we need to create some access key and secret key, and that access key and secret key we generally configure for our Confluent Kafka S3 sync connector in the config file, right? Now what happens, as a suggestion from compliance team, we need to rotate this user ID password with some certain days interval, and the day with which you should rotate your password is totally depends on company to company. Like for our case it was 90 days. So ideally what was happening that after 90 days our AWS access key and secret key what earlier we were using that become expired one, and the new access key and secret key we should be putting in our config file so that our connector can run smoothly. Okay, now what happened in our production system, this particular thing raised an issue, and what was that? The access key and secret key got rotated, that is older access key and secret key got expired and new access key and secret key got generated, but it happened silently, and as a result the developers have not updated the new access key and secret key in the config file. It was having that old access key and secret key only, which is now expired, and due to this expired access key configuration our connector started failing. Okay, and it was failing for 2-3 days. After that our production support team somehow monitored that because the downstream jobs were not running properly, the throughput was becoming very less, and all these problems started arising. That time our production support team, when they did RCA, they found out this is the issue happening, right? So as a solution, they have quickly updated the user ID password and they have deployed with the latest config file and resolved the issue. Obviously, there was some backfilling time it was taking because lot of messages got accumulated in the topic which the Kafka connector was not able to flush. Once it flushed all those backlog messages, it started ingesting the messages properly as per expected timeline in real time. Okay, but from this what we learned? We learned that whenever there is a possibility of access key and secret key expiration, then the admin team, production support team, developer or data engineers, they should be getting notified so that they can make the necessary changes in all the pipelines in on-prem system or somewhere wherever access key and secret key are used. If not, it is handled by automated manner. If in your company it is handled by automated manner, no need to worry. But in our case, we need to manually do the changes and deploy every time whenever this kind of password rotation happens. So that time, just to avoid this kind of issue, I am going to show you one particular pipeline which we can implement. That is AWS expired key notification. So here basically we are going to take help of Lambda code which you can schedule using event page or CloudWatch rule. Every day it will run at a certain point of time, and it will be having IAM full access. What the Lambda can do, it can basically list all the users in that account. Okay, so maybe let's consider we are having 4 users, right? So once it execute list user command, it will get all 4 users. Now individually for each user it will iterate, and it will basically try to find out what are the access keys are associated with the user. Okay, there is a command called list access key. Basically we need to pass the user for which I want to get the access key list, because one particular user might have n number of access keys. So using list access keys command, we can easily fetch for a particular users how many access keys are associated. Okay, right? So that way we can get this all set of access keys. Now we can do a simple if else check, that if the access keys are created 90 days before, then obviously they are going to be expired soon. So what we can do, using SNS or simple email service, we can send email or a notification to the developer, admin or production support team that please be ready to make necessary changes in all the pipelines or do the necessary deployment with the latest or the new access key and secret key, so that your pipeline will not start failing, right? A very simple implementation. So I am again reiterating what we need to do. First, we need to list all the users. Then we need to iterate user wise. We need to fetch all the access keys. We need to check when the access keys got created. If it is 90 days before, we need to send alert. Okay. So now let's see the Lambda code. It is a very simple code. Let me just put somewhere here so that we can see both architecture and code parallelly. Once your architecture is clear, then the coding implementation is very simple. You can easily do using Boto3 documentation. So here we are importing all the necessary required modules, and this is our main Lambda handler. As a first step, we are creating Boto3 client for IAM, because here to list users and access keys associated with user, we need to create this IAM client, right? Now here we are first expecting what is the current time in UTC time zone. Okay, and then here using client.list users, I am basically extracting all the users within that particular account. Okay, so that way I'll be getting all this list. Okay, and then we will basically get one array in the response. In that array we will iterate, and then here I am just printing access key for the user. So here this particular user, when we are iterating, this is basically one dictionary kind of thing, and their username key is there, for which if you want you can print the value that for this particular user currently will try to explore the access keys. And using client.list access keys, here all we need to do, we need to just pass the username for which we want to get the access keys, and that way using this particular command you can basically find out for a particular users what all access keys was created. Okay, now we no need to look much on the access key value, but rather we should be more interested on when the access key got created. Okay, so that information also available in access key info. Basically access key info is also nothing but an array, because I hope you can easily understand one user have multiple access keys. So whenever list access keys we are executing, it will be giving us one array. Within that array again we can iterate, and there is a key called create date. Okay, that is basically indicating when that particular access key got created. So all we are doing, that create date we are checking is 90 days before or not. And how we are checking? That is with respect to UTC date, we are subtracting 90 days. And if the create date is less than that, that means with respect to today, the access key was created 90 days before or more than that, right? So that means it is going to be expired soon. So we are just printing alert. Ideally in production system, what we can do, we can basically create another client for SNS or ACS, and we can send the mail to the respective admin team or developer team, right? Very simple code. I will just show you the execution also. So here in my account, I have one user which was last created 332 days ago. Almost it is going to be 1 year. And here you can see the access key and secret key, all these things we created, and it is an active user. Okay, so here you can see active, right? So now let's see that if we execute our Lambda code, then Lambda should detect this particular user and it should print in the CloudWatch logs, right? So here I will go to Lambda, and then here I can go to create function, and here alert access key. So here I can choose the Python environment as maybe 3.10, and here I can create the function. Okay, and here you can see our function got created. All I can do, I can replace this code with this code. Okay, and I can deploy this, right? One thing we need to do, that this particular lambda, when it will try to list all the users and all these things, it should have the proper permission. So I will go to configuration section, and here I can go to general configuration or permission section, and I can update the role. Okay, so add permission, attach policy, and here I can search IAM, and here IAM full access as of now I am giving, and I will add the permission. Okay, right? So here now I'm not adding any trigger. Ideally in production system we can add one event bridge or CloudWatch rule to trigger every day. All I will do, I will simply run it using test. Okay, so here see it execution completed, right? So first what it is printing, list of users. Okay, so here basically it is one array. You can see users is basically key, within that the array is there, and that's how I have coded. If you observe the code, first I have extracted the response from list user, and then I have printed list of user. Then within that response the key is users. Within that there is one array. So in that array I am iterating. Okay, now here in our account only as of now one user is there. So here when it is iterating, just only one time iteration it will make. Access key for the user is the 𝐷NXP, something like that. If you see, it has basically found out this particular user. Okay, now let's see what next information it has printed. Now it will try to find out for this particular user what are the set of access keys are there, and I am only interested in access key metadata. Okay, so here you can see that in access key metadata, here create date column is there, which is showing that it was created on 12/31/2022. And if you see the IAM console, here also it will show somewhere date, maybe 332 days or 333 days ago. So ideally this particular user was created that much days ago. Here somewhere date should be shown. Here you can see that it was created December 31, 2022, and our code has also extracted the same, right? That means it is correct. Now what it is doing, it is basically comparing whether create date is less than current date minus 90 days or not. Okay, which is obviously true for this case, so it is printing alert, right? So using this particular simple data pipeline, we can take the preventive step to avoid this kind of issues, where whatever keys are going to be expired soon, we can quickly analyze them, extract them, and send the mail to the appropriate desired team, just to take necessary steps beforehand so that our production jobs will not be impacted. I hope you understood this. This is all for this video. The code I'll be providing in the description box or in the comment section. You can check from there. Just try to play with it, because if you implement this instead of just watching the video, you will get more feeling out of it, right? If you find this video helpful, then please like, share and comment. Subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed till now, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification of our latest videos. Thank you for watching.